Let's begin with a loud salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We'll begin tonight's program with recitation of the Holy Quran. Murtaza Naqvi, would you like to come on this side? Where is it? Put it up here. I'll hold it for you.
How am I gonna read? How am I gonna read? How am I gonna read it?
You can't see it.
I'll just hold it like this.
There you go.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها والنفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بتغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فأكروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها. صلوات.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Another loud salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Tonight is the second night for the month of Ramadan. Officially, today was the first of Muharram. Muharram, and tonight is the eve of the second night. So, without further ado, may I ask Brother Ali Naqvi to recite Marsiya for us. Now, also before, just 1 second. I know there are some brothers who had messaged, either their parents had reached out or they may have directly reached out to one of us. If you would like to recite for the month, for the next few nights, please make sure, if you don't have Brother Ali Naqvi's, not me, the smaller Ali Naqvi's, his contact information, just reach out to him right now, or you can reach out to me and I'll make sure I'll get you guys on the list. Murtaza, I'm looking at you. Okay, all right. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala. Salawat.
अगर ये Karbala वाले نہ ہوتے اگر یہ کربلا والے نہ ہوتے وفا ہوتی وفا والے نہ ہوتے اور جو شہ سجدہ نہ کرتے زیر خنجر خدا ہوتا خدا والے نہ ہوتے اگر یہ کربلا. سورہ فاتحہ. اے مومنو پھر آیا محرم کا مہینہ شیعوں کے لیے خاص ہے یہ غم کا مہینہ رونے کا مہینہ ہے یہ ماتم کا مہینہ ہے قتل شہنشاہ دو عالم کا مہینہ اور فریاد کا گل فرش سے تھا عرش بری ہو ہل جائے فلک اور تزلزل میں زمین ہو اس ماہ میں اجڑے گا محمد کا مدینہ ڈوبے گا بیابان میں احمد کا سفینہ چھٹ جائے گی اس چاند میں بابا سے سکینہ شبیر کے بچنے کا نہیں کوئی کرینہ 18 بنی فاطمہ زندہ نہ رہیں گے غم اکبر و عباس کا شبیر سہیں گے کٹ جائیں گے دریا پالام تار کے بازو بن جائیں گے نیزے سے بھی شبیر کے گیسو تیر ہوئے گا شش ماہ کی گردن میں ترازو کر جائیں گے دنیا سے سفر اکبر مہرو تیروں سے سکینہ کبھی مشکیزہ دے گا مدفن بھی شہیدوں کا نہ کچھ روز بنے گا چلائے گی زہرا کے میرے جائے حسین پانی نہ دیا تجھ کو ذرا ہائے حسین اس ماہ میں تم نے وہ علام پائے حسین اللہ کسی کو بھی یہ نہ دکھلائے حسین مہمان بلا کر یہاں کفار نے مارا سجدے میں تمہیں شمر ستمگار نے مارا سجدے میں تمہیں شمر ستمگار نے مارا اے مومنو پھر آیا صلوات
Salawatullah salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So one thing I forgot to mention yesterday, and some of you guys may have already heard this before. Actually, before I begin, the brothers, can you guys come a little forward a little bit? So we have... One of the things I wanted to mention, someone had told me this, and Maulana, you can validate this if it's right or not. When you're, when you make your transition and you pass away and you're in your grave and you have they say it's very dark, it's very scary, right? And for the mu'mineen who there will be certain lights that they see that make their grave bright. I've heard that is the durood or the salawat that we give that come in that form of light in our graves. So it's very important for us to, I say salawat all the time, so it's one of the things that we should also be in the habit of doing, and also doing it together at the same time, right? So again, let's do Allah salawat. Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So one of the another announcement I want to make is I already mentioned if you would like to recite something, if you would like to read something, just give your name off to Ali. But like Maulana said, yesterday, that it's very important to commemorate these nights as we have been doing traditionally, right? I think Maulana, you may elaborate some more on that because there were some questions that came about what you meant by that, what is traditional. So maybe I'll let you answer those questions. But it's very important, right, that we also adopt our way of commemorating the martyrdom and the tragedy of Karbala. So many of us can't connect with Urdu or cannot connect with Arabic or different languages, so English is maybe our more of a language that we can connect to. So that's why it's very important also, Brother Muhammad, last year you gave a poetry in English, right? So if you guys I would like to encourage my brothers and my sisters, right, to write their thoughts in English in whatever form that they're comfortable in, and write your own, because these traditions have to be passed down, and we also have to make sure that we also put down our thoughts and contribute to that tradition, right? And plus, it's very helpful for Muslims who are not native speakers, not Urdu speakers, to also adapt and connect with that remembrance. So let me begin. Against every mighty army, they fought with might. For principles sacred, they chose to ignite the flame of truth that shall never cease, their legacy a beacon of eternal peace. Hussein, the embodiment of love and grace, in his noble heart compassion found its place. With every strike and each tear he shed, he taught us to embrace humanity instead. So without further ado, Maulana, let's invite Maulana with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Please recite a salawat. I think Brother Ali has to make a better speech to inspire you brothers to make a louder salawat. This is not better. A better one, please. I know it's a weekday and you guys have, well, you don't have school, but those people who are working, it's tiring that we have majlis that late. But still, inshallah, I suggest you to have a chai or something outside so your salawat will become stronger. So please recite another louder salawat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We have reached, like Brother Ali said, that we have reached the second night of the first Ashra of Muharram, which is really important. We talked about this first 10 days. Just a few words before we start and start discussing what I promised you, brothers, what we are going to discuss in the course of these 10 days. To remind ourselves that how important these days are. I was just listening to one of our asatid in his speeches, and it is a kind of really mashhur among the ulama that, when you come to the majalis aza, any majlis, it's like you are coming to the ziyarat of Imam Hussain or ziyarat of any imam. And the brothers or sisters who went to the ziyarat, if you go to haram of any imam, you read that isna dukhul, right? And isna dukhul, what you ask, you say that, I know that imam that you listen to my salam and you give the answer to my salam, just like a living person. So what our belief is, the Shia's belief is this, that when we visit our imam, he is a living being, even if we visit him in his haram or in his qabr. Similarly, this majlis aza is like you are coming to the tent of Imam Hussain, visiting him. As a matter of fact, one of the alim said that it is like, if you know these riwayat or the ahadith about the importance of the visiting Imam Hussain and reading namaz and dua under the dome of Imam, this is really important. And they said any dua you'll ask under the dome of Imam Hussein's haram, it will be accepted. So he kind of made this analogy that coming to the Majlis Aza is like you are coming to Imam Hussein's Roza, Imam Hussein's haram, not only in his haram but under the dome of his haram, where if you make any dua, if you try to make any connection with Imam, inshallah you will be successful to do that. So inshallah, when we come to the Majalis Aza, especially for these 10 days, when I say especially, it's not like after 10 days we're going to forget that. These 10 days are going to make the base for making ourselves as a habit to visit Imam, visit Imam through these Majalis Aza. Please recite salawat. Another small story, just to make the pace of the majlis. It is interesting to, again, it's with the adab, for the adab majalis, and how do we visit majalis and come to majalis. There was a story that some of the Shia, some of the muhib of Imam Jafria Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Don't shy about saying salawat. I mean, it's not going to take that much time. Please recite another salawat. Allahumma salli. So they were visiting Imam, and when they came to Imam asked his, the workers or the servants in his house to help them out, take their things out from their camels, and help them and settle down in his house. But when they were leaving Imam asked his servants not to help them out, to put their stuff back to the camel. So the people who were visiting Imam, they said, this is quite strange. Why, Imam, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why did you ask them to help us when we were coming and visiting you, and didn't ask them to help us when we were leaving you? So Imam said this, that when you guys, or when you people come to us, we try to help you. But we don't want to try to help you to leave us. There's a big lesson in this thing, that Imam is so welcoming, just like when you go to visit your mother or father and they don't want you to leave their presence, or they don't want to detach from you. Imam is like this to us, brothers and sisters. Imam is like this. When we come to Majlis Aza Imam Hussain, have this belief that Aima alayhi salam, Bibi Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha, they welcome us, and they welcome in the way Imam Jafria Sadiq welcomed those people. They want to help you take all your burdens out, so you stay here and stay in this dome of Imam Hussain, the tent of Imam Hussain. So inshallah, We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have this feeling, and not only the feeling, but this feeling by studying what our Imam is, who we are, and what our relationship should be with Imams. So inshallah, in the course of these majalis, we'll try to do something to like enlighten our minds and hearts to get close to Imams and Imamat, and especially Imam Hussein. And that's why the title of the majalis is Nafs Mutmainna. We are going to focus on the nafs and nafs of Imam later on. Please recite another salawat. One more point I want to make, which actually Brother Ali made really good, that anybody who wants to contribute, please don't shy, right? Even if it's a small verse you can recite in anything, a sentence you want to say, anything about Imam Hussein or Karbala or anything, just come over here and do it, right? So we have to, well, I'm not saying that, we have to compete with Urdu majalis, right? We have to have, like, they have 4 souls of salam, at least we have 2 or 3. Do it in English, right? Brother, I don't know if you wrote that, it was really good. My English was really weak, but it was good. So, I mean, you can do anything like this. Even sisters, I mean, it's better, I mean, if they can just give it to someone and they can recite it, or we can, I don't know if you have a projector and we can just put it there, or just do that. If you can, these days are to connect ourselves with Imam, especially Imam Hussein. These are the days to feel the presence of Imam Hussein, feel that we are close to Imam Hussein, right? Like we suggested yesterday that try to read the maqata. Actually, I found one PDF of a really good maqtal, so inshallah I'm gonna share it with Brother Ali, and we might have to start the Slido thing again. I was just thinking about that, about the question and answers things. So inshallah probably we'll be able to share it there. If not, then we'll share it somewhere else, but you guys can come back, like Brother said, that we have some questions about what we discussed, a few things yesterday. Just to answer really quickly and then come to my point. When I said the traditional way of doing azadari, this is what I quoted from Rahbar Muazzam. He was saying that. So what I mean, of course, this is my kind of a guess, but it's like, we can ask him what he meant by that. But definitely it doesn't mean that we need to have Kashmiri chai and halim. That's not what it means. It means that traditional way is to have a mimbar and a majlis and a marsiya, that we should cry, we should have masaib, we should know what happened in Karbala, but with our heart. Like I said before, that not only an intellectual discussion, though intellectual discussion is really important, but for the azadari, these poetry, these matandari, this having a member sitting like this, everything has its meaning. These are the adab of Islam, right? I mean, you sit down here and a person come on the pulpit. Pulpit has its own, barakah. It has its own izza. So we need to take care of all these things. I mean, you can have a round table, discussion about Karbala. That is all well and good, but that's not azadari. So I think that's what Rahbar Muazzam meant, and alhamdulillah we do it here, especially in New Jersey and New York. We are quite traditional. I think mentioned last year that I come here and it reminds me of my childhood, Muharram, because mashallah we have the poetry and all those things are in traditional Urdu, and they're good. The poetry is good. The poetry brother just said here, if anybody understood it, probably you guys understood it. It was good. Well, we need to go forward from that. Same poetry in English. Same poetry probably in Arabic. If anybody knows Arabic, anybody knows Farsi here, do it in your language, right? Sometimes we don't have to translate everything. Sometimes it's just like, even you don't know the meaning of the words, but the tone of those things, it can bring you in that mood of azadari. So please, inshallah, try to come forward. We are all brothers and sisters. Nobody's judging here. You can be really, really, really low, eloquent speaker like me and come and do it like this. Nobody's gonna judge, okay? So please recite a salawat, and we'll make a pact that inshallah we are gonna contribute as much as possible. This Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this is one of the Azadari thing is too, that we need to have these naras. They're important. They help you. So the discussion, we had kind of like an introduction last night. I don't know if I mentioned these things, but I think I mentioned it in a really short way. That this discussion which we are doing here is kind of related to the discussion we did last year. And it was about anthropology. Don't get scared about these terms. Anthropology is a study of insan, right? Or insan shanasi. But the thing is, when we say the Islamic anthropology, it's quite different than the regular anthropology. The regular anthropology is like, the man came from, monkey, or we had a caveman, and then we develop tools and stuff like this, and then we are modern man right now. But Islamic anthropology, which we discussed last year, was this, that we made a kind of a small, we made a result, and that result could be in a small sentence, that we are what? We are not the developed creature from animals, or we are not an advanced monkey in other sense. We are the beings who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in His color, in His presence. We are the vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the people, we are the, not people, we can say the species. We are the type of makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that makes us really, really different than the other creatures which Allah ta'ala has made, right? So we are gonna take this idea from anthropology, Islamic anthropology, and spread it out to explain what human beings are, and specifically what the nafs means. When we read some Islamic texts, and even in Quran, the nafs has been addressed in so many surahs and ayat, nafs insani and different types of nafs. Last night I said that inshallah we are going to discuss about the philosophical explanation of nafs, which inshallah we are going to try to explain today and complete it today. And then we're going to go to the irfani aspect of it. Irfani means like to know that what kind of types of nafs or nufus we can have, or one person can carry, right? So to start this, we have made this result that human beings are different than other creatures. Why? Because we have the ruh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nafaqtu fihi min ruhi. This is what Quran says, that after making Adam, Allah ta'ala has put his ruh, something from his ruh, Allah's ruh, in the body of Adam, right? So now what nafs is? Now we know there's something ruh, something called ruh, right? Which is spirit or soul. We know the Adam had a body just like us, right? We have bodies too. So what is nafs? Is that a ruh or a jism? So now we are gonna make, if you get really bored, please read a louder salawat so I can just pass really quickly here. If you don't get bored, just do another salawat, but not a louder one. Ya Ali. Ya Ali. Because I'm aware of this. Allahumma salli. These are different and difficult topics, and they are really difficult to be explained from Mimbar. But inshallah we'll try to do this, because like I said yesterday, this is really important. All of our the knowledge of Karbala and Imam Hussein, and our relationship to Imam Hussein, and how we establish this relationship, is related to knowing ourselves, our nafs, right? So now we came to this conclusion that we have a jism, a body, and we have a ruh, which Allah Ta'ala has put in our bodies, and then we have a nafs. So what nafs is? So there are a big discussion, philosophical discussion here, and different philosophers said different things, but I'm going to take one philosophical point from Mullah Sadra, and that philosophical point, why am I taking it? Because among the modern philosophers, Mullah Sadra's philosophy or Hikmat Muta'aliya is the best hikmat or philosophy which they refer and where they make all their concepts, basing their concepts on this Hikmat Muta'aliya or the philosophy of Mullah Sadra. According to the Mullah Sadra's philosophy, one more difficult terminology is coming, so brace yourself. Insan is, or the nafs insan is, Jismaniyatul Huduth wa Ruhaniyatul Baqa. Right? What it was that? So inshallah, we are gonna do that. First of all, we need to know what nafs is. So we said that we have a ruh, we have a jism, right? The connection between this ruh and jism is called nafs insani. So when we are, according to Mullah Sadra, when we are being made in the wombs of our mothers, we started our journey from jism, right? From two cells, they combine together and then we become a zygote and all these things. That's our jismani part. But our nafs develop from that jismani changes in our body within the womb of our mothers. This is a really important thing, brothers and sisters. Why? Because if we think that the jism is in here and the ruh is in there, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just made our jism and then put that ruh right on the jism, then jism doesn't make any significance, right? Then all these ahkam of, when the moment dies, we have to do the tajheez and takfeen, and we have to move his body really carefully, because it doesn't make sense, right? Because if you explain ruh and jism like this, that okay, this person died, his ruh has left the body, now body is nothing. It's just like I took my clothes off, my clothes are inanimate objects, just like my body after I die, so it has no significance. No, it's not like this. If you believe in this philosophical point that the jism is important in the development of insan's ruh and nafs, then you will know that how important the jism is. Now, we refer to Quran, like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about this, the creation of Islam, of insan. Please recite salawat. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah number 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ. So, sulala is the part of the teen. Teen is something like mud or clay, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He created insan from the extract of the clay. Just keep all these things in your mind, and inshallah we are gonna expand it from there. ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاهُ نُطْفَةٌ فِي قَرَارٍ مَكِينٍ. Then He made him a cell, one single cellular thing, organism, and put it in some good place. ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة فخلقنا العلقة مضغة فخلقنا المضغة عظاما فكسونا العظام لحما. Now he changed this. Well, this is a lot of doctors and scientists, they use this ayat about teaching embryology, right? Like how the human are developed from the egg and sperm, and then they become a morula and gastrula, blastula, and different stages. And then when you see the embryological stages of any animal, even you can see that they develop from an egg and then they became like a whole human being. ثم أنشأناه خلقنا آخرة فتبارك الله خلقنا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين. This is important point here. Like after passing this sperm and egg from different stages, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ansha, like initiate. Insha means like initiate or khalq or develop from nothing a new khilqat, a new development in this developing embryo. Khalaqna akhir. Akhir means like something else. Here the Mufassirin says that this akhir means that when this body which started its journey from what? From teen. What's teen? Teen is a mineral, right? Like, we are, what if you put our body under the microscope, and if you ask a biochemist, he'll say, oh, that many percent of your body is carbon, that many percent of your body is calcium, things like this. All these calcium, carbon, and nitrogen, they are what? They're elements. They're clean. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made these components, and from those components, He made the nutfa, the living cell, which fertilizes the egg, and from there, the insan is being made. But He didn't say Ahsanul Khaliqeen till He says Khalaqna akhar. When He says that He passed this nutfa, passed this sperm and egg to different stages and give the face of a human being, but then when He put His ruh in this body, then it became something else. Why is it important, brothers and sisters? Because that's how we know, how Mullah Sadra is explaining us, that how we develop our nafs or ruh through the inanimate objects, the elements. Now, how is it related to knowing the nafs of insan? We're gonna go when we discuss it in 4. Please recite salawat. It became really dry, so if you can give the water to all the brothers, then it'll become a little bit wet. Please recite salawat. Now, this is the journey that we start from an inanimate. So all of you who are sitting here, we started our journey from elements. We were in this universe as elements. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought these elements together and made from these elements a human being. First a living thing, and then a human being. So now we see that this jism is not anything which has no value. As a matter of fact, my ruh and my nafs is developed on these elements. My ruh and jism, just like my body is developed, my building blocks of my body are the inanimate, inorganic elements, which are changed into organic elements, and from there they change into living elements, and from there they change into an insan. And all of these things have nufus. Did you understand when I explain nafs or not? Please be frank about that. So we discussed that nafs is what? Nafs is a connection between jism and the ruh. The ruh which Allah Ta'ala has, the spirit of Allah which came to our body, the connection between our jism and to that ruh is called the nafs. Now the philosophers say that they have different kinds of nufus, right? We talked about the development of insan from the clay, from teen towards a living organism. And from living organism, when this infant comes out in this world, he knows nothing. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that He created you and He brought you out from the butun of your mothers while you knew nothing. So this kid, he came out, he has no knowledge about anything, right? You ask him that how many gods you have, he will say no. He wouldn't be able to answer. He wouldn't be able to support his neck. So he has to be fed, but he has some jibillat or fitri things that he has to cry when he's hungry, so he can survive. Now you know that what insan is, that we have, that when Quran says that we have created you really weak, we were really weak, we are really weak, but we have to go through all these paths to go to that, the highest level of insan, where we find the nafs mutmainna and nafs radiyya and nafs maradiyya. So the brother has a question.
So, if we're born weak, how are we strong like now?
It's a really good question. So that's what happens, right? When we are weak, we eat and we develop. And when we develop, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes our body stronger, and then we start, like our neuronal circuits are connected, and then we started walking and talking and things like this. Yes, well, we are going to come to that, inshallah. Please recite a salawat. that's a really relevant question. Why? Because now I'm coming to the nufus, right? So when we make the stages that we came from the minerals, from minerals we came to a being which is just growing, to a being which is sensitive, to a being which is insan. So philosopher says that we have three nufus. The nafs nabati. So the mineral is called jamad in Arabic. Jamad is like minerals, which are inanimate substances. They cannot sense anything. So the philosopher says they don't have any nufus. They don't have any connection with the ruh because they don't have any ruh. But they say because one characteristic of the nabat, of the plant or vegetative portion of any animal or human is that it can grow from one seed. For example, if you see a plant, it can grow from a seed to a tree. So that's the characteristic of that plant, to grow from a small seed or even from one cell to trillions of cells. This ability is called growth, is called nabat or nabati ability. That's why if anything which has this ability, it has the nafs nabati. This ability to grow from one cell to a tree is because of the thing this specific creature, specific makhluk of Khuda has. And what's that characteristic? Is this that it can grow. If you put a calcium pill or something like this in the ground, they don't grow, right? Because they're minerals. But if you put a seed of a wheat or any flower or anything, it grows into a tree and a plant. Human beings have the same ability. We can grow, and we do grow. When we are born, like brother said, we are weak, we are really small, we grow in all the dimensions. We become tall, we became, our muscle develops and everything. That is our vegetative part. Now, how is it relevant to knowing the nafs? It's relevant in the sense that, brothers and sisters, when me and you are sitting here, we have this nafs nabati in ourselves too, right? We are growing. So why people and the Urufa and ulama say that, okay, you know what, if you keep thinking in this way that you grow, it's not good. It's lesser for a man just to think that he has to build a body and focus on that. Why? Because although it is in the fitrah, right? Allah Ta'ala has put this that we have to grow, and it is important for our survival. What Urufa and ulama say is that if I get stuck to this nafs of nabati, nafs and nabati, if I get stuck to it, if I focus that I have to grow and I have to grow my body, like some of the brothers, they go to gym just to pump themselves up for some other reasons, or some sisters to just beautify themselves and grow them in their beauty for some other reasons, and the right reasons. I'm not talking about nauzubillah bad reasons. For example, let's say to find a good spouse, a pumped up spouse, right? Or a really beautiful girl. If I focus only on this aspect of my nafs, or if I focus on my nafs nabati, if I get married or if I try to live as a human being, I will fail. Why? Because my vision is really limited. I'm just focusing on the materialistic development of my spouse. I'm just giving this example because it is really sad, and it's kind of hurting that when you see that a lot of marriages, especially in Mu'mineen, they are failing. One of my friends said in Houston that if you want to come back here, just memorize the sigha of talaq. This is a sad joke. It's a joke because there are more nikah than talaqs here. I mean, more talaqs than nikahs here. That is sad. Why? Because we are living in a society which focuses mostly on the materialistic way. I mean, I could have said this, and a lot of ulama have said this before, right? Why we are failing? Because we are focusing on our materialistic well-being, our growth. But why am I bringing this nafs thing? Because just to give another angle of understanding this problem. The problem is not this, that we are focusing on our growth. We need to focus on our growth, the physical growth. The problem is this, that when we get stuck to it, when we just think that I'm gonna, Nauzubillah, marry a model, both brothers and sisters. Like he has to be physically perfect. Because I don't have this big experience, alhamdulillah, that I do the matchmaking thing, because it's a really draining job. I went to a Maulana and he said, like, he does the matchmaking. So he said, he was doing the shikayat to me. He said, you tell me. That one sister came to me and said, Maulana, I want a cool guy. So just explain it to me, that how can I find you a cool guy to get married with? So yeah, I said, I don't know, Maulana. I'm fob like you. I don't know what cool means. Please recite a salawat. So looking for the cool, well, the brothers who are here, they can explain it better. What a person who is going to, really. I'm not saying that exercise is wajib according to Rahbar, exercise is wajib. But if I'm doing it for some other reasons, again, I'm not doing the fatwa of haram and halal here. It's just like we're just focusing on these things, and because of these misconceptions and because of these problems, we see these practical problems in our society, in our communities. How come a really perfect hijabi, a really great brother who goes to center and masjid and read namaz, and they're getting divorced? How is it happening? I mean, we need to, there's a big question for ourselves. We're not teaching right things to our kids. Of course, beauty is important, brothers and sisters. It's really important. Even we have ahadith. But that's not everything there, right? I had, like I said, I have few experiences, and when I was talking to this brother, I was saying the same thing, that when you go out and reach out to marry someone, look for marriage to marry some person, you need to see the whole personality. If you're marrying a model and who doesn't know how to talk, or saying like it after other word, then it'll be a problem, right? It'll be all likes in your house, nothing else. We need to think in this way. Baba, we are different than the people we are living with. These people, they don't have values. We have values. We have the whole theory. We know where we came from, where we're going, where we are. There should be a difference in the lifestyle of me and a person who is living next door to me. He has no Imam Hussain, he doesn't believe in Allah, he doesn't believe in Akhirah, nothing. He doesn't think of any obligation. The lifestyle he made his life upon is fun. He's looking, or she's looking for fun all the time and to look cool. If my brothers and my sisters and my community and my children are talking like this, then it's a problem. We need to grow ourselves mentally. So like I said, the physical growth is important. Nafs al-nabati is important. But no, we shouldn't stick to that. Now after that, when this nabat, when this vegetative state goes to the above, one stage above, that is known as nafs haywani, or the animalistic nafs, are the characteristics of animals. So the philosophers explain animalistic nafs or animalistic characteristics as with a definition that anything or any organism which can move with its will, right? But if we want to explain it, you see animals. What animals do? They want to grow vegetatively, like they want to eat, grow, and they want to reproduce. There are only two functions and jobs the animals have. A cow grazes all day, not to give milk to human beings. The cow doesn't think that. It is insan who thinks, okay, you know what, he's grazing. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Like when they go and they do graze the whole day, and when they come back, you see that they have their, they have milk, which you can use. These are the ayat of Allah. The cow and the goat doesn't know that. We know that. Why? Because we have aql. Why? Because we are the vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So an animal characteristic is what? You just graze and reproduce. You fight for your territory and you love someone to propagate. Right? The quwwa shahwani wa quwwa ghadabiyya. The anger and the shahwani. Shahwani means like they want to propagate, they want to eat, they love for the food or other carnal desires. Ghadabiyya is anger. Anger is what? That when you see Animal Planet, you will say that, well, what's Maulana doing at 2nd of Muharram? He's showing us the Animal Planet. But it's good. They are all ayat Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran that Siru fil ard. Siru fil ard is this. Go and see. When a mu'min, when a Muslim, when a human being, not even a mu'min or Muslim, when he sees these things, he gets lessons from these things. So when you see that in Animal Planet, all they do is that they want to try to stay in one pack, and they want to take their territory. The lions, they mark their territories. The other animals, they mark their territories. This is animalistic instincts. They are important for human beings, but to some extent. If I'm marking my territory everywhere, that this is my room, this is my car, this is my house, this is my children, and I'm marking my territory with that, then I'm nothing more than an animal. And because of this, I am doing the anger, I am doing the dhulm, or I'm not patient with other people, because I think, oh, they come to my house, or they use my car. One of the brother was saying in Qom that when we come from Qom, we give our cars away. So the students who are staying there, they can use. So he said, it's so strange that whenever I come back, it looks like something is damaged in my car. While I'm driving it, I don't feel it. Why? Because we have this instinct that, okay, this is yours, this is mine. This is all well and good. But after that, something comes in my mind. Okay, probably this brother used the car, he didn't know how to. We have all stick shifts, and there's Iranian stick shift. It's like they just made it at home, so with aluminum or something. So they get destroyed really easily. So if it is destroyed, probably I might have done it, and I might have made it bad. Oh, okay, he did it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's really easy to repair your car there. What I'm trying to say is this. Okay, these instincts are good. They are there for our survival. But we need to grow from this nabati state and Hayvani state and come to the insani state and have, because why? Because we have nafs insani. Please recite salawat. What is nafs again? It's a quiz. The relationship with the body and the soul, or the ruh, right? Or in easier sense, not in the philosophical sense, the ability, the specific abilities of the creatures of Allah, or creations of Allah. Now the plant has the ability just to grow. The animal has the ability to do this, with the quwwa shahwaniya wa ghadabiyya and all these things to control and grow and survive. And insan has both these abilities and capabilities. But above that, insan has what? Intellect. That's why the nafs which insan has, or nafs insaniya, is called nafs natiqa. Don't worry, I'm not gonna get any exam after that, so just if you can write it down, it's better. If you ask me questions. What natiqa means? Natiq came from mantiq. Mantiq means from nutq. Nutq is when you speak. So the philosopher says that insan has the ability to speak and make words. Animals cannot make words. It doesn't mean they cannot communicate. They can communicate with the sounds and gestures and things like this. But we have the ability to develop words and languages. That's why we call insan a haywan natiq in philosophical terms. As an animal who can talk. The literal translation of that is this. The animalistic nafs which can talk is known as nafs insani. But to explain it, talking is one portion of what they are trying to explain here. To explain it is this, that any animal or anyone who has animalistic instincts, if they have aql, if they have intellect, then that animal is known as insan. So the difference between insan and animal is what? Please recite a salawat. The difference between animal and insan is this, that like I give you the example. Yeah, we have to have this quwa ghadabiyya and quwa shahwiyya and all these things. But we need to, above that, we need to have intellect which can control it. But you know what? If we get stuck to this intellect, then it's a problem as well. Now we are coming towards the irfani or the Gnostic explanation of nufus, which we are gonna cover tomorrow because it's really, really heavy right now. I think I've said a lot of things in one majlis. But I suggest if you can, if you think it's worthy to write down the notes, write down the notes. And I don't know if you can provide the papers and pencils. If you have, it's in the budget. It will be that expensive, inshallah. So I mean, write down the notes or write down on your cell phones, and we can discuss it later. I'm trying to make a ground of what I'm trying to explain later on, brothers and sisters. So sometimes it's really difficult to make a ground, right? Because those things we have heard, but we don't know what is the aqli dalil behind that. We have heard that, okay, Imam Hussain was nafs mutmainna. He was in itminan, he was in the presence of Allah, and he was doing everything for Allah without, you cannot even fathom that. How can a person do so many things in one day and still say Alhamdulillah? Or Bibi Zainab saying Ma rayatu illa jamila. How can she say that? All this explanation comes back to these grounds of aql and how these awliya Allah use their aql and how their aql and their connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them that great. That's the connection we need to make. Why? Because we have heard this and we have accepted these things as because we love Imam Hussain, we love Islam, we are Muslims. But if we want to explain it to someone else, then we have to know these things from the ground level, from the really, the root level. More than that, sometimes what happens, a person, there's a really good person and he's really good practicing Muslim, but sometimes a different question comes in his mind, or people give them some different questions and he just become, oh my God, mesmerized. Okay, yeah, I didn't think, well, why did Imam Hussain do that? Why did Imam Hassan do that? When Imam Hassan, people were asking Imam Hassan to fight, and he had a lot of people, at least more than Imam Hussain. He could have fought with, Taghut of his time. But when Imam Hussain has nothing, he's fighting. How can I explain it? How can I explain it to myself? Forget about other people. I need to have some intellectual grounds for that. I mean, believing is good. Of course, we have to believe because human intellect can go to some level. After that, you have to believe. And it doesn't mean that because I cannot understand it, that's why I'm believing it. It's because that's something like Wahi and the Quran and the position of Imam and Rasulullah, these are so big that our mental capacity cannot fathom that. Our intellect cannot fathom the maqam of Imam. We cannot do it. We cannot do it intellectually. But our intellects can take us to the position, to the threshold from where we can build our iman. If it's getting really difficult with terminologies, please recite a salawat. Recite a salawat. If it's not getting difficult, then recite a louder salawat. So what I'm trying to explain is more difficult than what I was explaining before. Please recite a salawat. But inshallah, bear with me. We have like too many days in discussing these things. But inshallah, brothers and sisters, when we talk about Hausa and all these things, we think, oh man, something is really strange is happening there, right? I mean, there are these people, they're coming from Everybody who's in this room, we all have capacity of fathom and knowing these things, believe me. Sometimes what happens, it's just like when we didn't have cell phones, we used to memorize phone numbers, right? Now we have cell phones, so we just put it there. So we are kind of shrinking our mental capacity because of these gadgets. Otherwise, I mean, these things are not that out of the world things. A little bit difficult, but inshallah, that's why if anybody has any shikayat, just do it to Brother Ali. He just gave me that the youth and the community is so, mashallah, ready for all these things. But inshallah, we'll go through that. Please recite a salawat. So the intellect is the main demarcation between an animal and a human being, according to philosophers. Because monkey cannot design a tool, that's why he's a monkey. If that same monkey can design a tool, then he's a human being. That's what this says. The scientists and some of the philosophers, not the Islamic philosophers, but probably Western philosophers or the philosophers which were not that like into irfan and all those things. But the irfani explanation of insan is this, that this insan and this intellect of insan, the definition of intellect changes in Islamic philosophy. Imam says, I don't know the address of this hadith, come to me after that. He said, Imam Ali says, that what is aql? Aql is the thing, is the capacity of a human being which can provide him the knowledge of haram and halal, which can provide him the knowledge how to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. According to Imam Ali, you can write a really big mathematical equation, but you're probably not an intelligent person if you are writing it without the help of Allah or without believing in Allah. Why? Because you can see there are a lot of intellectual people. As a matter of fact, the atheists, the new atheists and all these people, they're mathematicians, they're biologists, and they study universe, and they write big, mathematical equations, and they try to, give theories about quantum physics and stuff like this, which is really, really difficult. Now, when they come to this discussion about Allah and the presence of a being which can create all these things, their answers are really childish. They're really childish. I mean, if I'm a learned person, I need to have this thing in my mind that, okay, my scientific method could be not as vast as I think. It would be able to know how far this different galaxy is from my world or this earth, but might not be able to know what farishta is, what angel is. Why? Because my scientific theories or my scientific system is based on tangible things, or based on the things which can define tangible things. And the wahi and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul and these things, they're beyond tangible things, beyond material. If a really learned person cannot fathom that, then I don't think he's a learned person. How can you just say that, okay, this is the only way? Unless I have an equation to that mathematical equation, the result of that will say God at the end, I'm not going to believe in God. That's not a good argument, right? Just like when, I studied medicine and they have different medicines there. One of my teacher always says that you should go and do the Sunnati medicine thing, right? In Iran, it is really popular. I don't know what you call it in English. Some different kinds of medical treatments and medical studies, like Chinese medicine, Greek medicine. The problem with these two doctors, they think that the other person is jahil. Baba, you don't know their methodology, right? The methodology of the Greek medicine or Chinese medicine or Indian medicine or, we call it Sunnati medicine is totally different than allopathic or what we call modern medicine. I have no right to say, okay, you know what, you're wrong. Why? Because I didn't study him. I didn't study his methodology. So this person who is a big biologist, this person who is a big physicist, a mathematician, He's saying because of my mathematical calculations, I cannot get to the result that the universe is made by an unseen being, which is all-knowing and all-powerful. That's why I don't believe in Allah. It doesn't make any sense. That's a childish answer. You didn't go to those sciences. You didn't study philosophy. You didn't study, we call it mawara tabiyat, metaphysics. You just studied physics. How can you talk about metaphysics? It's just like a doctor says, okay, I'm a really good doctor, I can build a bridge. No, you cannot. You're not a civil engineer. You don't know anything about that. But this happens when a person, this nafs insani, which is nafs natiqa, which is in regular sense intelligent, but detached from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or in simple words, when it doesn't fall into the definition of intellect and intelligent person of Imam Ali alayhi salam. What's the definition of Imam Ali, of intelligent person? A person, or aql, or intellect. The aql is a tool through which you follow the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you save yourself from the ma'asiyat of Allah. Now do you see the connection, brothers and sisters? The disconnect in our life is really, really bad. We come to the center, we become a really good moment with the tasbih in our hand for 10 days. And when we go out, I'm not talking now about partying and all those things. The good religious practicing people, when we go out to work in a hospital, in a company, we think that thing is totally detached to my center. That thing is totally detached to my being as a Muslim. Why? Because I understood Islam only by saying 5 times prayers, fasting for 30 days, and reading some Quran. And if you have money, then you can go for Hajj, that's it. And helping people out. These 5 pillars, which our Sunni brother says, the 5 pillars or 5 furu'id. If I do that, I'm a Muslim. No, Baba. Islam is a lifestyle. When we used to say this, and people say, okay, Maulana, you're just claiming it. Please explain it. So this is how you explain it. That when you say that Islam is a lifestyle, you have to dig deep into the philosophical theories on which they develop their Western society, and they're telling us that, okay, you know what, Islam has nothing. There are a lot of brothers who come here and say that, okay, Islam is a really good religion. Name me one Muslim who made bulb or telephone. All the kuffar did these things. So Islam didn't do anything. First of all, they have a problem because they don't know the history of Islam and history of the Muslims and the scientists who actually did all the different inventions. The second of all, again, it's just physical world. You think if it was really important, Allah Ta'ala wouldn't have sent down the formula of how to make a telephone in Quran? He would have done that. Why did he do that? Because you know what? If you are a good Muslim, you will be able to do it, and that's what Muslims did. Jabir bin Hayyan and all those people, they did it. They were good practicing Muslims, and they were the students of Imams, and Imam guided them, and because of their intellect, they have actually, if you go, there's a book, 1001 Inventions of Muslims, you can read about that. I'm talking about the children. All these inventions, you say that even before Wright brothers, we have other people who tried to fly and they were Muslims. And they were successful in doing that. So these are not a big rocket science on which you are saying that, okay, you Muslims, you're na'uzubillah, you're jahil, you're nothing, you cannot do anything. We have to come out of this mindset, brothers and sisters. What I'm doing right now is that I'm wearing black clothes, calling myself Shia, but from inside, I'm nothing. I have no confidence as a Muslim. I don't believe that Islam can give me something for my life. Che jaye ke, or what is afterlife? Nobody knows about that. The version of Islam I have is temporary. Confined in the centers, in masajid, confined in days. 10 days of Muharram and 30 days of Ramadan. How can we think that we are, then we talk about Nafs Mutmainna, we talk about Imam Hussain, we talk about those people who helped Imam and had the iman that if I follow this Imam, even if my throat would be cut, I'll be successful. How can I believe in that? If I say I believe in that without knowing all these things, without having a confidence as a Muslim, I'm lying to myself. And that's what we are doing in actuality. Like I started from this divorce thing. If my divorce rate is as much as the other ethnicities, Hindus and white people and this and that, then actually they are better than me. They're better than me. Because when I do nikah, I said, okay, so sunnah, the rasul and this and then, and I easily break it like this. They don't do that. They just say, okay, like animals, I like you, you like me, and we get married, like animals. We're not like this, inshallah, we are not, right? But you know what? Unfortunately, we are like this. Our focus is on, again, this materialistic level. Just we grow ourselves to the level of intellect which is devoid of any belief in Allah or Rasul or Imam Hussain. To be frank with ourselves, is devoid, is detached. I'm coming to majalis just because my father grabbed me and dragged me in the majlis. I never thought about this, that how important in believing in Islam like this, and how important as a community to develop. Please recite the salawat. Please recite the salawat. So that's why these discussions are important. I'm so sorry that I really, I can see from your Nurani faces that you were really sad or probably tired by all of my talks. But personally, it actually inspired me. These kind of talks when I was a kid, we, as a matter of fact, had, well, not to that level, some kind of this intellectual talks in our home. And then the ulama, when they used to come and then they talk about ruh and nafs and these things. Why? Because brothers and sisters, when these questions come in your mind, Allah Ta'ala has put these questions there. Shaykh Mutari says in his book that these questions, in old days he gave an example that there was a bichara, mediocre Maulana of a masjid, and he went to him and asked him questions, and he said, oh, don't ask these questions, they are bad questions. So these questions, he said, no, they're not bad questions. If I question this, that, okay, who am I? Who has created me? Why the God is invisible? Why is he not showing it himself to me? Is it difficult for him to show it to me? If it's difficult for him to show himself to me, then is he a God? Right? They're difficult questions, but we need to, and they come in our mind, we need to address these questions. So we, inshallah, I hope this was the driest majlis. Inshallah, after that we're going to have that dry majlis, and inshallah we're going to build up something from this. The main point is this, that brothers and sisters, be confident of your Shi'at. Be confident of your Musalmaniyat. Be confident, and not just because I'm confident because I'm confident, right? No, because I have a dalil. I have reasons behind it. Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha. What? It's just because I sit here, I say this hadith, and there will be a Nara Hadri and there will be a Salawat, and that's it? No. What Imam expect from us? We have to relate ourselves to Ashura, to connect Ashura to time. We are the people Iman Zaman is waiting for. We get up, we equip ourselves intellectually, Imam inshallah is gonna come back. He's not waiting for Abdullah to die in Saudi. He's not waiting for a fire between Basra and Kufa. Those things are there. But he's waiting for our intellects. We complete our intellect as much as we can. Then he's gonna come and make it more complete, like to the brim. This is what Riwayat says. if I'm detached to this intellectual discussions, if I'm detached to my beliefs, how is he going to come back? Whom is going to rule? We have given 11 imams, and Rasulullah, if you say his shahadat was there. From 14 Masumeen, almost all 13 of Masumeen were shaheed. There's one Masum left. It's a time to get up, to do something. To tell Imam, okay, you know what, I am Ahmadi, I am doing something. Now you come and help me. Be frank with Imam, talk to Imam. He's going to talk back to you. I just started with this, that when you do ziyarat, there's something in Arabic, in this Izn Dukhul as well, that, oh Allah, this Imam, when I'm saying salam to him, he is saying wa alaikum assalam to me. But I am not able to listen to it. But there are people who are able to listen to it. One of these people were Muslim ibn Aqil. When you have the ma'arafat of your Imam, brothers and sisters, you do works like Muslim ibn Aqil. It was not easy. It was not easy. I just traveled from Medina to Mecca, and my car broke down, and you can see there's nothing there. In old days, you are traveling from Mecca to Medina, from Medina to Kufa, going all those big deserts. If you see the map, those deserts, they say even right now they don't get signals because they are like barren lands. And you're traveling, hiding yourself from Yazidis. Why? Because your Imam asked you to go there. Your Imam asked you to go, O Muslim, go there, prepare Kufans for me. So that's what Muslim ibn Aqil did. He went there. He got a lot of money of khums and this and that to provide the weapons and all those things because it was an uprising. And I was just listening to Jawad Amali, and he was doing the Masahib of Muslim, and I, inshallah, because they are ulama, they are asatid. If I say those words from my mouth, it's a tabarruk for me. He made a point that, you know, this Bani Hashim, the Mazlumiyat of this Bani Hashim and these people are this, their enemies never came and fight like a man with them. You know, how did they kill Muslim? They just put him and detached him from the followers of Imam Hussain. They bought the followers of Imam Hussain who were claiming that they were the followers of Imam Hussain. Muslim at the night, after gathering almost, they said probably 50 to 60,000 people to help Imam, at night he was all alone after the namaz of Isha. A Muslim went to, and he was wandering to the streets of Kufa. We have heard all these things, but we need to remind ourselves that when you believe in Imam and when you get a mission of Imam, that's what happens. Sometimes that's what happens. Muslim was sitting outside the house, and there was one Momina. She came out and saw there's a Jawan, he's young man, he's sitting outside of my house. He said, "Oh young man, what do you want?" He said, I want some water if you have. She gave some water, and then she went inside. Then she came back and she saw that he's still sitting there. So this moment I said, "It's not a good thing that you're sitting outside my house. How about you go to your home?" The Muslim said, "I don't have any home. I'm a stranger in this land." The land which Imam Ali ruled, Muslim was stranger after a few years. That's how our Imams were left alone. So this Momina says that, "Who are you?" And Muslim introduced himself. He was the follower of Imam. She brought him inside and said, "Okay, I'm going to protect you because I know these Ibn Ziyad people, they're soldiers, they are thirsty of your blood." He hid them. She hid him in a storeroom. The son of this Momina came, and he was the soldier of Ibn Ziyad. He said, "I was busy finding Muslim. He left, and we want to get him and get him killed." At that time, Muslim was sleeping, but then he just woke up and made some noise. He made noise because he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream, where he was saying that, "O Muslim, it's too late. Now come, me and Ali and Fatima are waiting for you." Muslim came out. This Lain informed all the soldiers of Ibn Ziyad. The whole army of Ibn Ziyad came to get one follower of Imam. Muslim fought like a brave man. And even at that time, one of the commander of Ibn Ziyad said, "O Muslim, you surrender and I'm going to take you to Ibn Ziyad and I say to him that not to kill you. I'll give you the aman." They took Muslim there. And when they said Muslim to say salam to the Amir, he said, "Amiri Hussain wa ni'mal Amir." This is what the followers of Imam Hussein's brothers and sisters. In front of Ibn Ziyad, he knows that he's going to kill him, but he was not saying salam. But one point Ayatollah Jawad Amli made, which actually melts our heart. At that time, Muslims started crying. And these enemies became happy. And they said, "Oh, Muslim, now you see that you will be beheaded, so you're crying?" He said, "No. I am crying because I wrote to my Maula, Maula, these Kufans are ready for you. And I'm crying that what if my Maula, Imam Hussain, is going to get this letter, and because of this letter, he's going to come here, and they're going to behead him." Brothers and sisters, these are the followers of Imam. They think of Imam before themselves. On the top of the rooftop, he said, "Salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah." And some says that at this time Imam Hussain was coming out of of Makkah, and Imam said, "Wa alaykum assalam ya Muslim ibn Aqil." Ayatollah Jawadi says, Muslim at the end of his life, he was praising Imam Hussain, and the Qatil was na'uzubillah saying bad stuff about Imam Hussain. And Muslim didn't stop praising Imam Hussain while he was under the knife of this Qatil, till he cut his throat and threw his body on the streets while the children were waiting to take the body of the Muslim on the streets of Kufa. Ayatollah Jawadi says that the same thing happened when Imam Hussain was alone. When he said, "Hal min nasirin yansuruna," he said the name of Muslim brothers and sisters. If you call your Imam, he calls you back. That's what Imam Hussain did. When he was saying, "Hal min nasirin yansuruna," he was asking Habib ibn Mazahir, Muslim ibn Aqil, to come and help him and help the haram of Rasulullah. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيِّ مُنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. Matam Hussain.
Hussain, Ya Hussain, Karbala, Karbala, Karbala aa gayi, Karbala, Karbala, Karbala aa gayi, Karbala करबला आ गई, रश के जन्नत है ये सरज़मीने वफा, खून मासूम से इसको सींचा गया, सो रहा है यहाँ दिल बरे फातिमा, आंखें आई जब उसकी याद आ गई, करबला 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 आ गई, करबला 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 आ गई, कम नहीं है हरम से ये दश्ते सितम, आँखें नीची रहे सर रहे सबके कम, سر کھلے یا سے گزرے ہیں اہل حرام گڑ کیا کھاتی تی سکینہ گئی کربلا 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 گئی ذرہ ذرہ کے داستان علم خون ہی خون بکے راہ بحرم اے دل ناتوا رکھ سنبھل کر قدم سیدہ یاس ہے پابرہنا گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی کربلا کربلا آ گئی گودیوں میں نبی زادیوں کے پلے جانے دینے پہ اس طرح سے تلے رکھ دیے خشک ریتی پہ پیاسے گلے برش خنجرے ظلم شرما گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی کربلا کربلا بلا آ گئی رنج و غم جن کے گزرے نہ تھے پاس سے 3 دن تک تڑپے تھے رہے پیاس سے شاہ دیکھا کیے حسرتوں یاس سے ہر کلی باغ زہرا کی کملا گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی کربلا کربلا آ گئی ہائے زینب کہاں اور کہاں ریسما منہ چھپانے کو بتے لاؤ جاؤں کہاں مجھ سے چھپتے نہیں بازوؤں کے نشان قید ہونے سے پہلے نہ موت آ گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی تھا یہی میرے اکے بھر کو نیزہ لگا ہلکے اسے گر یہی تیر سے تھا چدا ہاں اسی خاک پر تھا سرے شیخ عطا یہ زمین سارا کن با میرا کھا گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی کربلا 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 آ گئی صلوات
We can laugh together.